Later on another occasion, my uncle had come again to the ashram and he had met Amal Kiran in the ashram, Kedisipna. I had given to my uncle the manuscript of my poems to show to Amal Kiran at the time. And he came here, he showed the manuscript to Amal Kiran browsed through it, and he said that this fellow has a poet in him. So that he encouraged me. And then he gave me his postal address, Amal Kiran. So when uncle came back, I used to correspond with Amal Kiran at that time. I was in the first year of college and I had to correspond with Amal Kiran. Amal Kiran was staying in Bombay at that time, Hamilton Villa, Napier Road, he was staying there. So I used to correspond with him. So I wrote one poem, A Student. The title of the poem is Student. I was a student and I was describing the student's life, the student of infinity. That was the title, that was the theme of the poem. Amal Kiran liked the sonnet very much, and then he touched it up here and there, and he published it in his journal, Monthly Mother India, which is coming out from Bombay at that time, Monthly Mother India from Bombay. So he published that in Mother India in 1952, November 1952. So that was my first surprise, my first publication also, public poem. Now, we were not subscribers to Mother India. So I could not see my poem in print. But then Radwan used to get to India regularly. So we borrowed his copy of Mother India. And then the whole family was very jubilant and that kind of thing. But the greatest surprise was that after a couple of weeks, I received a money order of rupees 5 as a payment to the contributor to Mother India. It came from Bombay, 5 rupees as a contributor to Mother India author for my poem. Student. Now I did not keep that 5 rupees. I immediately went to the post office and made that 5 rupees as an offering to the primary order. And then I was in constant contact with Amal Kiran. He used to send his comments, his encouragement, his corrections, and all that. So it grew a very intimate relationship with Amal Kiran. And that is how my apprenticeship also began with Amal Kiran. So my association with Amal Kiran was very old, starting. In fact, I met him for the first time when I had gone to Bombay from Hyderabad in summer 1952, something like that, to say. And then I went to his house, Vacancy Road, met him there. We sat there for 3 hours and we talked. I don't know what to talk. Amal Kiran was very happy, I was very happy and all that. And that this gentleman, big man like that, who had corresponded with Shrevendu, who had intimate relations with Shrevendu and their mother and all that, I'm talking with him. But he very fondly received me, talked to me, encouraged me, that thing.
So the money order that you sent to the mother, in those days she would sign herself, right?
Exactly.
Get it
Now, whenever the money order was sent, mother herself used to sign the receipt to the money order, and that receipt used to go to the sender. So, with her signature, that receipt came back to me. Part of the question, that is true. That is very true.
Yes. So you said you went to Bombay. Later on, you also moved to Bombay.
Yeah. In 55.
A job in Bombay.
Yeah.
How did
Well, I did my MSc and I had registered in the Hyderabad University for my PhD, and I was a PhD student for 3 months or 4 months. But then there was an advertisement from Tata Institute of Fundamental Research that we wanted new people to join the Tata Institute, and we saw, I did not see, but the whole atmosphere that they knew that thing, and then we decided to apply. My professor encouraged me to apply. He was a very great man, very gentleman man, very nice person. He encouraged me to apply for that. Professor Anisur Rahman, he was a very great mathematician and great physicist who has studied in Cambridge. He got his PhD from Cambridge and he has studied there, and his background of quantum mechanics was absolutely remarkable, and it is from him that I received my, so to say, education in quantum mechanics from him directly, so that I could reproduce the entire argument of Niels Bohr, how the quantum mechanics was developed, his three postulates, and how the quantum mechanics began in 1913. The paper Niels Bohr was published in Philosophical Magazine of England in 1913. I used to read that original paper, study it, and then in my examination I wrote a long answer about that thing, and it was right. So Anisur Rahman was the person who really inspired me in a very great way to do physics. That way. I was driven by that thing. Fire, we got kindled, and that burned. You see.
So then you joined TIFR.
Yeah, so then I applied as usual, and then I came for the interview on Dussehra day to Mumbai, staying with my relative there in Mumbai for a few days, and then I went for the interview and I was selected, and then I said, okay, I will join TIFR, and then I decided that my date of joining will be 5th December 1955. 5th December, that was the date on going to withdrawal. So I joined TIFR on 5th December 1955 as a research assistant, which was supposed to be a very high designation of the time. So they used to respect everybody at that time. So I was in TIFR, and then the department in which I was not in TIFR later on got merged with Bhabha Atomic in Atomic Energy. It became a part of Atomic. So that is how I automatically shifted from TIFR to Atomic Energy. I didn't have to apply, I got shifted directly.
And Homi Bhabha was the founder of Bhabha Atomic Research Center.
Yes. Yeah, well, I mean, it is named after him. Yes. At that time, it was in the Atomic Energy.
Did you have an association?
Yes. Well, not directly, personally, but it was a close community. Everybody knew everybody in those days, you see. And he used to attend regular colloquia, which was held on Wednesdays in TIFR. So he used to come and join the colloquia. He used to interact with everybody in those days, you see. So I have seen him just like this, you see. And he also saw me. And when some of my projects were there, and my achievements were there, he came and visited and saw those things. You see. Something stunning. In fact, it was so impressive that he made it public everywhere, you see, at that time. See. So, I did not have personal contact in that sense, but that relationship, he knew everybody, you see. Bhabha was an engineer. His father wanted him to become an engineer, but Bhabha's own ambition was to be a physicist. So he did physics, but to satisfy his father, he also did engineering. He was an engineer, he was a physicist, he was a great administrator, he was a great Egyptianist, he was himself a great painter, associated with famous painters of the time, at that time. And he used to go around, he used to do painting himself, oil painting. Some of the paintings are there in TIFR nowadays today also, Bhabha's painting. So he was a great administrator also, great organizer of things in that. So when I start describing Bhabha in so many terms like that, then a friend of mine said, yes, he was all that. And I said, of course he was all that, but he was not all, nothing of that. He was a genius. Genius means he can do anything, anywhere. Whatever he touches, will show his genius there. He was a genius. He may be an administrator, he may be a physicist, he may be a painter. That is not important. He was a genius. And that genius can express itself anywhere in his own perfection, in his own completeness. So that is how we describe Baba. And he was a modernist. He had the futuristic look. He had a very great rapport with Prime Minister Nehru. And their relationship was very helpful. That is because of that relationship, Baba could get things done the way he wanted, develop the whole thing the way he liked. Nehru used to kind of approve it. At one time, Nehru asked Baba, would like to come to the administrative in Delhi as the Minister of Science. Baba said no. He would have immediately Minister of Education or Science in Delhi. He said no. I want to remain in the field of research over here. Baba had great contacts with great personalities all over the world. Dirac, Einstein, all so many great personalities. He had personal contact relationship with them, and he should interact with them, showing with Heisenberg. He had personal contact with them. So that way, he was a man of contacts, man of interest, because he was himself educated in England. So that kind of thing was sort of easy for him also to do. There are a couple of photos of his with these great people. It is Baba who could invite, for instance, Dirac to Tata Institute to give a series of lectures for a couple of months. It's a final trip, and that is how the school in Pianifa developed and grew by inviting foreign dignitaries, great scientists like that, and we used to participate, we used to attend the lectures and profit from that, you see.
You also later on, when you were in the US,
Yeah.
you had a chance to work with some of these people.
Yeah, that's right. Basically, I went to the US in 64, January 1964, not to be more precise. At that time, you were hardly a year and a half, not even, roughly, it's a little more than a year old, you see, young child, kind of thing. And I had gone to US. I was in Berkeley for 18 months on a scholarship, International Atomic Agency. On the scholarship, I was in California, Berkeley, the Orange Expedition Laboratory. That is what they used to call it on the hill. And it was a stunning experience for me, a life-changing experience for me. Earlier, before I one of the offers from the IAEA for me was to go to England in Case College. Sorry, yeah, I think in Imperial College, I don't remember exactly, perhaps Imperial College in London. And we research student, research scientist there for some time, you see. But my professor in TFR at that time, he said, no, it's not very attractive. And he discouraged me to accept that proposal. At that time, I regretted. I felt a little nervous that it was an opportunity, and he said no. But I think it was a good thing he did for me. So instead of going to England, I happened then go to America. And it was a wonderful kind of an experience. My whole life had changed completely with that. I was in Berkeley for a year and a half, and I came in contact with great people there. At that time, Berkeley campus, both Lawrence Laboratory as well as the university campus, in those days, had at least half a dozen Nobel laureates in different departments. So that atmosphere was there all the while, and I got an opportunity to do my research there in that place. I wrote 3 papers when I was in Berkeley during 18 months. I wrote 3 papers, another 4 papers there, and they were published in the international journals there at that time, so, and it continued. When I came back, then again I started my work in atomic energy, Baba Atomic Research Center, as we call it now. And I headed a number of important projects later on in the course of time. My special field was about materials science, growing crystals. We have grown variety of crystals. Plastic scintillator, huge size, 2 feet by 2 feet size, 4 inch thick. Those are the plastic scintillators for the first time developed anywhere in the world. And I could manage to that sort of a thing, this scintillator. And then we have produced hundreds of them. Now I was so much impressed that we took one of the plastic scintillators, big slants like that, and showed in an exhibition in New York. Along with Indian reptiles.
Yeah. So that continued for 25 years, 30 years.
I was my professional life was there for about 25 years. Exactly. In fact, I joined, as I said, on 5th December 1955 here, and then I took voluntary retirement from Baba Atomic Research Center on 5th December 1980. Exactly 25 years old. And I had decided that, look, I'm a physicist. What was happening was, toward the end of my period there, professional life there, I was finding that I was getting more and more dragged into sort of administrative and management things. Not doing something laboratory, but getting dragged into something else. We published a lot of papers, we published a lot of journals, we participated in conferences and all that is okay. But then I said that is not the thing at all. We have to continue getting more and more drawn into administrative things like that, you see, and conference and things like that. So I wanted to. And I said that perhaps the best time is now to do something else, you see. And then I took the decision. My son, you were there, just going to the college, to the university, the IIT at that time, and everybody was a little puzzled about my decision and whatnot. Naturally, all those things were there, but then I said, don't bother. The family is supported, my pension is there, my money is there, I will take care of them, but I would like to be now attending my own things over there. So while I was in Bombay for 25 years, I had of course decided at the time that all life is not only science. I was absolutely sure of that. And I had also made up my mind that there need not be physics for more than 8 hours in a day. I must have time for other things also. So I still cannot distribute myself accordingly, and I have to go to the gym in Bombay. And my son, you were also, I was taking to the gym and whatnot. I didn't really give much attention personally as a personal attendant to my son, to you. His mother was taking care of all those things, but personally I did not really take attention, except for general things like that, you see.
Yeah, I didn't feel that.
Pardon?
I did not feel that.
Yeah, no,
we can
see,
stop.
it was a different thing, but it was like that, it was so, see. Yeah.
We have covered roughly 2 periods.
Yeah. So that is up to Bombay life.
Yes, we have 2 more periods. Maybe we can do that another time.
You will do some other time?
Yes.